All right, so now we're gonna finish with the last part of chapter 9. And so we can then close out the course, you know, with a bang. We're really excited that we're getting to the end. So let me open the web app. So as you might remember last time we talked about, let me see if I can put this on the left. And then let me get the change version. And let me put this one on the right. Oh, actually I need to pull this out. Can I pull it out? Yes, okay. All right, so you'll be like, oh my goodness, let's hold this on the screen. Don't worry about it. It's the same code. One is the original here on my left side of the screen. See how it goes up and down? So that's the original code, and this is the one that we changed. And so what the chapter told us is, okay, we're gonna create a context manager. Previous class, we described what a content manager is. We went and did a class, and we're creating objects that will manage our accessing of the database, okay? Which reminds me, I need to start this database. So we're gonna go MySQL, SQL, dot, what is it, D, right? I'm missing something. And I think it's server start. Yeah, Brooke, look it up for me, because I always forget.
Yes.
Oh, no, I found it, MySQL. Oh, I did something wrong. MySQL.d, I think it's just start. No, look it up. Well, that's what. Well, look, Brooks will go getting it. So in the original code, we had to type down, right, the connection for every connection. We had to type, you know, all the closing of the database, and for every query, we had to like deal with that. And then when we're about to write to the database, we had to go and open a file, like a text file, right? And then kind of write all that stuff to that file. And we're not gonna do that anymore. We're implementing a database, so we're gonna insert values in the database, and then we're gonna pull data out from the database. So obviously these two sections, writing to a file and reading from the database, could be optimized, and we're doing that with a context manager. So how does that look after the change? So we take the log request function and we change it. The first thing we do is we take the database configuration and we use the app variable that comes with app.config, that comes with Flask. And this is, the book explained, this is good because now this configuration, we can use it anywhere in our script, anywhere in our project, since it's part of the variables that Flask keeps track of. So we don't have to worry about how this is done. Flask does it for us, right? And then the second change, which is the function, we're gonna use the context manager with, and we're gonna call our class and instantiate an object from that class. And we're gonna give the class the configuration values that are in here. As you might remember, and let me show you that real quick. Our class will take, where is it? Here we go. Our class will take the configuration that we're sending it, right? It's gonna initialize that variable as configuration because that's how we named it, right? And then before the class, the object executes the suite of code, in other words, and before it does all this part, it's gonna go and do the enter section, the dunder for enter. And it's gonna go and expand the configuration, feed it into the connection, and then create the cursor for us and return that cursor. Why does it return it? Because we need it. We need that cursor to be able to take our SQL query and execute it. In this case, insert the values in the database. And then when this block is done, what happens with the object is it goes and does the dunder exit, and it commits the database, closes the cursor, and closes the connection. Easy peasy. So moving forward, you can only need to write your query and your execution, that's it. Same thing with the writing, the getting the results from the database. We're gonna go to the view log. This is the decorator and the view log function. And we're gonna use the context manager, call our class, instantiate an object, provided the configuration parameters, right? as cursor. And then our query is gonna be, instead of inserting, is selecting. We're gonna pull data out from it, okay? And then we're gonna execute it, get the results, and put the results in the variable called contents. Make sure we have the titles that we're gonna show on screen for our report, and then render that report in an HTML format for the user. And that's it. And again, the details on how this goes about, the books gives it to you. So you can read that in detail, but that's pretty much it. It's pretty much applying our context manager to the, in this case, the insertion of data into a database and the pulling data out of the database with a select statement. If you're not familiar with SQL or SQL, structured query language, that could be a class on its own, but it defines how we can pull stuff out of databases, how we can put stuff into databases, how we can join data from different tables, from different databases, and get useful information from them. All right. All right, Brooke, do we have a command for me?
I'm looking and sent an SOS to the class.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'll find it real quick here.
I'm just not familiar with it.
No worries.
Sorry, all.
Oh, no, oops, there's no sweat. So let me pass the command here because I always forget the command, and I'll hit continue in a second when I have it. Let me pause the recording now. All right, so let's see if this command that I promptly Google does the trick for us. MySQL.server start. Let's see. Perfect, we have success. So we have our server, SQL server is working. So now let's see how the script runs. So we're not gonna use the old one. We're gonna use the new improved version, and we're gonna execute that script. So Flask starts going. It's giving me the local IP so I can access it. So let's open our browser. I'm gonna open, the browser is gonna be a Safari. In this case, if I could type here. Oh, where's Safari here? Could have used Chrome too, but since my eyes are failing me, let's use Chrome. That's fine. I'm gonna go here, 500, and then the first one is what? Logging. Let's see. We're gonna go to entry. To entry, yes, sir. Let's go to entry. Okay, so I'm gonna put here DFIR is awesomer and hit do it. All right, so look at this, right? So if this worked, we inserted the data, right, into our database, and it pulled out this data, right? Now, how does the report look? Let's look at the report. The report, we have to go to the view log per the decorator. So let's go to view log and see how that looks. See if it's pulling the data in a way that we want it. View log. Look how nice, right? This is one that I did some time ago, and this is the one that we just did. The letters that it's looking for, where it's coming from, the agent, which browser, which makes sense, I'm using Chrome, and then the different vowels that it found. But notice how this is not being pulled from a text file anymore, it's being pulled from the database, okay? And just to confirm that, let's look at our code real quick. And this is the view log section of the code. I'm gonna take this query, I'm gonna copy it, and what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go here and I have to log in. I don't wanna log in. Oh, actually, oh, hold on. I should log in. No, I'm not gonna do it because I don't wanna log into the database. It's gonna take too long. But you can run this query on the database straight from the command line and you'll get the same results, right? You will get what you see here on screen. You will get your data for every field in the database. And honestly, folks, I'm not gonna do it now because I don't wanna fumble around remembering how to log into the database. But the video from the previous class, we did the same thing. So you can watch that one to get that example. All right, questions, comments? If it makes sense, give me a 1. All right.
We have 1.
Okay, so, and we're done. So again, recapping the end of chapter 9. Again, we went from writing to files to writing to databases. And now we went to having to, every time we open a database, have to open the connection, close the connection, manage the cursor, unmanage the cursor. Now with a context manager, is way easier to do. And we have to write less code. It's way cleaner and way nicer. For next classes, like I said, for next class, have chapter 10. It's a lot of reading. And don't worry, just do the quick read through it. I'm gonna really focus on the code at the end of the chapter. And if you look at the end of the chapter, it will tell you chapters 10 code, and it has code 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on that code and do a little walkthrough, right? Same thing for chapter 11 and chapter 11 3/4, and same thing for chapter 12. So we're gonna focus on the code for those chapters, and then we're done, okay? Well, thank you so much, and we'll continue the class on next Tuesday.